Okay, Adam, we're back for this video, and we've decided to split this off because we did Rage of the Review. We did reviewing the reviews for Lost Records Journal, which is our podcast, and we left off a lot of other little pieces of news that have happened, and we'll try and collect them into the next podcast episode. But this happened very recently, and I thought we'd bring it up and we'll just do it as a separate video. So context, we're recording the 26th of April, so I don't think anything's going to really impact this or change it. But I thought we'd bring it up because it is an interesting story, and it's kind of related to. We did one of these on StrangeCast when it was talking about Life is Strange 2 and Life is Strange True Colors' numbers going up because it's the same kind of study, and I think they might have done one for Lost Records' Tape 1 as well. So just give you context, this is on TrueTrophies. So this was on PS Plus Extra Game. Lost Records sees huge drop for Tape 2. Compared to the initial release in February, Lost Records Bloom Rage Tape 2's debut PS Plus Extra saw a near 60% drop in PS5 players. So this is from Lee Brady, who's I'm gonna skip that part actually because that's just context there. Yeah, so there we go. So using a gameplay data sample of over 3.4 million active PSN accounts, courtesy of our partnership with Game Trends, which draws most of its data sources beyond TrueTrophies, we track the player count of every PS5 and PS4 game that launches on Sony's PS Plus Extra and Premium subscription services. This includes Lost Records Bloom and Rage, which had something of a disappointing launch on the service back when Tape 1 dropped in February. The game wasn't exactly ignored, but as the 8th biggest day one game to hit PS Plus Extra, it was surprisingly middling debut for a title that carried the pedigree of a Life is Strange spiritual successor. Well, Tape 1 had a disappointing debut, but the newly Tape 2 has had an abysmal showing. Very strong wording. Released on Tuesday, April 15th, 2025, the finale of Lost Records Bloom Rage has seen only 42.3% of the initial audience pulled by the game's first release back in February. Data from the week ending Saturday, 20th of April, 2025. That's a dramatic near 60% drop in active PS5 players between the launch of Tape 1 and Tape 2, although perhaps it's not particularly difficult result to reconcile. After all, I think we can point to various factors that might suggest PS5 and PS Plus's extra players failed to show up for the second part of Lost Records. For example, the second part of the game got nowhere near the publicity and marketing that the first got. To see this in microcosm.
Yeah.
Microcosm. Well, there you go. Note that Tape 2 got a single trailer on PlayStation's YouTube channel compared to the 5 trailers and promos that aired on the run-up to Tape 1's launch. Are most players even aware of that the finale of the game's story came out? It's a big question, that. There's also the fact that April 2025 is a much busier month for new and exciting PS5 games than February 2025 was, as we've talked about many times, Adam. In the week Tape 2 debut, the PS Plus Extra and Premium subscriptions were likely chugging away at Blueprints or checking out lead game Hogwarts Legacy instead.
Blueprints. Yeah.
That may be a hot take for some people, but yeah. Meanwhile, PS5 owners were also playing Last of Us Part 2 remastered, of course, because we play that 600 million times alongside the new HBO season, or just getting pumped up for Indiana Jones on PS5. Meanwhile, back when Tape 1 launched in February, it was apparently easier not to be tempted by lead PS Plus Extra game, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Plus, what else was there for Lost Records to compete with? Tomb Raider, Angel of Darkness, the looming launch of Like a Dragon, Pirate of Yakuza in Hawaii. Fine options, sure, but by no means jam-packed as April 2025 feels. On top of that, all of that, it's very unlikely that episodic games see more players show up for a finale than they do for the start of the series. Sure, some TV shows might be occasionally enjoy a bigger finale for season debut, but then those viewers don't have to play 18 hours of video to jump in at the end. And you found that as well when you were playing Lost Records. You had to finish your save file off, and thankfully you saved it when you backed it up. If we had official data from successful episodic games like Life is Strange or The Walking Dead to point to here, we would, but publishers are typically quiet on how well each episode performs. The best we got is TrueTrophies' own data. To be clear, that's a much smaller and different data sample than from Game Trends, showing 24% fewer players got the trophy for beating Life is Strange Episode 5 compared to Episode 1 during its initial PS3 run. Might not be much to work with, but at least it suggests numbers typically go down, not up. That's also a bit interesting because PS3 wasn't even the main console it released on.
Mhm.
It released on PS4 and Xbox One. They were like the main consoles. They put in the legacy consoles at that point, didn't they? Um, so I don't know if I need to see that. Yeah, actually, that's just their opinion at this point. So I think we can just talk at them at this point. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of interesting metrics there. A lot of stuff that's being said there. Um, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I would like to point out that they are
Mhm.
absolutely correct about April 2025 because again, when we're talking about Blueprints, I've been playing Blueprints. It's phenomenal, dude. Blueprints is really good and it's not just really good, but it does take up a lot of your time,
Mm,
because you're going, like, run after run after run trying to solve the puzzle, and the puzzle, like, when you get to the antechamber in there, you finally reach the antechamber, and then you have to unlock the antechamber again, and then you have to do, like, these other puzzles, so it takes up a lot of your time, so there is that factor, or even checking out, Hogwarts Legacy, but as I said, there, Last of Us Part 2 remaster because the HBO show. That's also a factor. Or Indiana Jones coming to PS5. That's as well a factor. So I can understand that's probably the best take in here. That's probably the best explanation, not just like, oh, they got bored of the story or oh, they're not interested. April, in terms of like games that will take up your time instead, it was kinda stacked. Again, Blueprints really takes your time.
mm.
Last of Us, you wanna get hyped for the show. Indiana Jones, because, I don't know, you hate Xbox. It's just like all these different things, so I agree with that.
Yeah, it's an interesting take. I agree with the fact that it's been busy, and we know that, for example, all the publishers are pulling their stuff ahead because Grand Theft Auto is out later this year.
Yes.
Potentially, depends on who you talk to, and if you feel it. Take Two has got that booked in at the minute, but
Yeah.
basically the calendar has flip flopped a little bit, and you had a bit of a stagnation last year where people were moving their games into this year. I completely understand what you're saying as well, where it's like, when Last of Us is going to come out, people are going to replay the game. And, that's
Mhm.
why Sony announces the umpteen version of like The Last of Us because
Yeah.
they're milking that. So
For
it is,
$110 physical.
oh my,
Yeah.
how much is it?
110.
Oh my,
Yeah, it's $100 digital, but I believe 110 or 120, physically, and I was
it's
like,
outrageous.
it is outrageous. That's highway robbery right there.
The Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, the collector's edition looks so cool, and it's like it's £300 in the UK. The
Mhm.
statue of Naked Snake, and then also like the vinyls. I'm like, no chance. I'm like,
Yeah.
if Yoji Shinkawa forged that with his own hands, I would definitely buy it. But I'm not paying £300 for that statue. Like the arms are missing. It's that DLC component. But anyway, I agree with you that I think that is a one. I'm going to argue another point though, and I think this is a big one. I think other people agree with it. The marketing has not been good enough for this game, and that's not
He
necessarily
also
on.
pointed that out here, yeah, definitely.
And I think there's a lot. So one thing that I feel vindicated with, and it's not many wins I can usually take away, but in the
Yeah,
spoiler cast, we had even said that when we were doing the review and spoiler cast, we were only going to do it for 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes. And obviously the spoiler cast turned out to be a 2-hour episode because the original intention of the review segment wasn't as planned. But it went off on that tangent because I kept saying to you, I didn't think the two tapes was a good idea. And I
mhm,
think this has proven that I don't think the two tapes are a good idea. I know where Michel's coming from. I understand that, and as well where how he's telling the story. I don't think the payoff happened this time, and I think it's been impacted because when you look at the when you look at the PS Plus numbers here, it has to be important in the context of it. This game was planned for last year, Q4 2024. They were planning to put this game out. In itself, they were at Gamescom last year and they did preview events. You only do preview events usually as a game publisher when your game is set for a date to come out, so you get the marketing behind it. That you move the release date. You didn't do a second round of previews. So those previews are hanging from last year, so no one's going to go and look up them. Use them. Usually use the previews to build ammunition to start getting upset. So that's happened. Last year, they started the war, the war. They started the battle, the S-Tage EV, which we were talking about for months. And I repeatedly kept saying to you, I was like, it might not be that Montreal's getting affected directly in terms of their developers walking out, but Paris is in itself a different thing. One of the walkouts we had, which we covered, had 100 people plus. What happens if the admin team walks out of the social media team and then they're backlogged with more work and they have more stuff of it? That was happening in the background of like Don't Nod
mhm.
situation. We get to here now, and it's not enough marketing because it's as we said in the if you go look at the credits of Lost Records, two people, Marin and one other person that in the marketing. Then the division that's in France, for example, they have their own small one, but they're marketing everything. So it's like Koira, the Lonesome Guild. They have to do all the other stuff as well. How big is that team? How big
Mm,
are they, like social media savvy per se? And it's like we had gorgeous trailers from Marin, one after another in the build up to Tape One. Tape One felt like a build up. Tape Two didn't have that same build up. I was hoping that Sony would give it a push. They didn't really do that. They put like one or two posts out on their feeds and stuff. There wasn't a huge push from Sony to do the marketing because it's not their
yeah.
job. They just agreed to the deal with PlayStation Plus. Um, Marketing impacted this game. And I think that they really need, like when Oscar Gilbert says like we need to do the reorganization project and we're going to work with third party, he needs to factor in building their marketing base and building their social media team because they're not social mediaing this properly. I'm giving as much constructive feedback as possible because I'd do
Mm,
the same thing if this was Deck Nine or Square Enix. I have a lot of affinity for people I don't know, but I'm also going to give my honest perspective of it. I think they really needed to do the marketing better in terms of getting the social media algorithms, and sometimes I'm not very savvy with my opinions on certain topics. I.e., for example, when we did our conversation around Tessa Rose Jackson, your input's more valuable than mine will ever be because you have
mm,
a comprehensively incredible understanding of music than I'll ever do. My toxic trait is thinking I could do what Tessa Rose Jackson does. That's where I'm at. But with marketing though and social
yeah.
media, I've worked for some of the biggest social media agencies and like things where I've like worked with people who specifically make content for social media and like really target that. And even with these games, they haven't done using TikTok as a free platform. You've said it before, you use it for music. You have to make things for that. They even make TV shows for TikTok so that people can watch things via TikTok and then get hooked on it and see it, or it has a certain engagement time with it. And they didn't do that with this game. They should have really done that. And I only think that way as well because when Olivia came on here, who's from Low Birth Games, creative director, worked on This Bed We Made, they have a massive following from on
Mm,
TikTok from their game. And they could pick up people constantly just picking up their game and playing it. I saw more edits from other people than I did, for example, from Don't Nod doing it on their own account. Abby did one, and she got a big boost off her views as well, off that.
mm,
And I'm like, why are you not making this content yourself? And weirdly enough, as well, and to add on to that, I'm now starting to see Lost Records appear in my TikTok algorithm, but nothing before that. And do you want to look at the comments dates? It's from February. So it's like I wasn't even in their algorithm at that point. And I'm kind of like, why are you not using the social media mechanism to do that? Yes, it's amazing for Michelle to go and do an interview with the BBC and Olivia Lepore and the other and anyone else. Fantastic. And that gets you in a mainstream thing. But you also need to target the people who are further away. TikTok is free. Once you do it, get the hashtag set in, go from there, and you can get tons of people viewing your content. And the one thing that happens here as well, Life is Strange is a legacy franchise. People grew up, people changed, people don't know the difference between Don't Nod and Deck Nine. And
yeah.
a lot of people don't know that. You might think if you come here, you'll know it because you're a Life is Strange fan and you found a specialist niche podcast or channel that focuses on it. The wider public does not know that because do you know why I say that as well? People are already saying Lost Records is the firewalk lighter that Nora has.
Yes.
Um, they're like, that's a Before the Storm reference. It's like, no,
Hmm.
it's not. It's a
Yeah.
reference to Twin Peaks. And it's like, they're like, oh yeah, Cat's wearing the mask and oh no, wearing the mask, and it's like Chloe Price from Before. So it's like two different developers here.
Yeah.
Don't try. And then people connected it, and in their head, when you look at the comments, they are convinced that it's a continuity connection. It's like they're two different developers. There's not an
Mm,
Easter egg to the other developer. You can tell it's not an Easter egg. And Luke said it. Do you remember one of the interviews we covered like a year ago or something, where it's like Luke said, people don't know the difference between Don't Nod and Life is Strange and like Square Enix. If you think about Life is Strange, you think Square Enix because that is the umbrella publisher that appears front
yeah.
and center. Unless you become invested in the series, then you connect it. Now you will connect Lost Records to Don't Nod because it is only Don't Nod. But I just don't understand why they just did not use that TikTok algorithm more. And you need to do that because, and I know I'm ranting for a little bit, but one thing I noticed as well, when they did the Lonesome Guild, I love that game. It looks cute as well
Mhm.
in there as well. I saw someone actually even comment on one of their TikToks about it. They put it out there, and someone was like, "Why are you not using hashtags for this to amplify it?" And it was like so true because, for example, who is looking for the Lonesome Guild, this niche indie game that no one's ever heard of, and you're
Mhm.
putting out there? You need to optimize that. So it's like even for example, you could even use Mr. Fox for example as like a hashtag. It's not that's a niche hashtag in itself, but that's going to get people's attention. And then RPG narrative, adventure, game,
Yeah.
indie game, all these other little things to kind of do it. I do it on Instagram. I do it with that, put like certain targets out there. Because I have to like grow my grow the actual like Instagram page, and it's growing as well, thankfully. But it's like, I have to really be considerate with hashtags. I'm trying to pull people in because then eventually you'll get a bigger base. Don't Nod has a big social media following since its Life is Strange days. For me, it doesn't use it as well, and especially with TikTok, this game is built for it. I would have like videos every single day of like Swann kissing all kinds of things, even if it was Twiglet as well. It'd be like that level of like, I'd be like, she just puts a kiss on the dome because we love Twiglet. That's what I'd be
Yes.
doing for the content. And it's just a knock-on effect from that. That's why I think you have to really like amplify off of it and play off of, really take advantage of it. And I think like that's where I hope that Don't Nod's team, if they ever watch this,
Yeah.
I hope that they take it constructively, because I think this is what could take their game from here to there, because the drop-off rate is staggering. It is staggering. No matter whatever metric you say it is, if someone's going there, it's a 60% drop, even
Mhm.
based on that sample size as well. It's a big drop, because even still, you expect people to come back to it. If they played it as well and they've enjoyed it, or whatever else, you expect there still to be a good retention.
Mhm.
Things drop off. We see it on our podcast all the time. We see plays go up and down constantly. It happens. But the drop off is sizable. Comparing to Life is Strange is a bit difficult, because Life is Strange was a very much a lightning in the bottle moment. And also, as well, it was the PS3 version that sampled data size, and that's not even the biggest version of it. However, you can't not compare it, because that game, as I've said before, will be Don't Nod's greatest legacy, but also will forever haunt that studio, because it needs something to match it. And it really needs to match it on this game as well. And I think this game, what infuriates me more as well, I've seen certain comments which are like, and you see that people have no idea this game exists. And it's like, it's disheartening, because I'm like, I wish more people see it. Same with the game you're playing. Was it Blueprints?
Blueprints, yeah.
Yeah, I want more people to play it. I want people to play Balatro. Do you know one of these games that have like those kind of
I
successes where
mean,
they start breaking out?
that's what I mean. Balatro is like it's
Balatro,
already yeah, it's already
yeah,
implemented. Balatro's and then Blueprints, people are already like
yeah,
insanely picking it up because it's like word of mouth, you know?
yeah. No, completely
Yeah.
agree. And it's like the music's great for this game. Use that to help
Mhm.
amplify that message. And even in itself, here's an idea, and just give you an idea. Why don't you
Mm.
do, if you don't nod, a half and half like TikTok video, and it's Swann and Max, and you're like, we would love if they met, because you can
Mhm.
use that. You're not saying anything with it. Square would not have anything to do with like an IP challenge or something, because you
I don't know. I feel like the legality on that, you don't wanna, like, toe the line, you know? Like, that's fun from, like, a fan perspective, but, like, this is an official business, and, like, there's legality involved.
You say that, but like
Mhm.
for example, Don't Nod's TikToks, for example, they've used a mod that's in there when they've used Life is Strange stuff. And
Mhm.
I think it's a mod from someone called Frankie, I think it is. It's a Life is Strange 2 mod where they put it in Life is Strange 1. And you're like,
Yeah.
hang on a minute, you're supporting mods there for that reason. And it's like,
Mhm.
I think you could get away with it to a certain extent, where you like, or you paint the image where it's like, we made this character and we've now made this character. Do you know, something connects it? Maybe not, as you said, direct, where it's like the shaking hands and it's like,
Yeah.
then we get into that legality issue. But I think you can do something where it's like, if you love Life is Strange, we made that, and look at what we made now. Just little videos to kind of like bounce off it. I think that's the thing. I'm not an TikTok expert connoisseur, but I've shown Adam, we've seen videos that have gone, like that. Like our Kylie interview that we had on StrangeCast is like minimal compared to the 37,000 views it has on one clip. And I'm like, wow, maybe we should just turn all our podcasts into 30-second clips and see how far that gets us. It's like maybe there's a better opportunity there. Yeah, there's a lot to be said with it. There really is. And I think I'm the only thing I'm not concerned with the player base falling off and stuff, is that I think that Sony deal saved them a lot,
Mhm.
because we talked about it, and they said, for example, that I think someone who was one of the rumors where it's like, they signed a lucrative deal with Sony, and then obviously Donut reported earnings, and they said that it falls within our expectations. The sales are in line with our expectations. It also makes me wonder what the sales expectations were, and what would have happened if Sony didn't agree to this deal.
Mhm.
But I think there's a little bit of a benefit from that. And I think maybe long term, this game could benefit from Games Pass, the summer release, and then people picking up word of mouth down the line. But I think the two things I need to see from this metric that we see from the PS Plus thing is the two tape formula needs to be eliminated unless you
Mhm.
have marketing power behind it. So you can market both equally. And secondly, social media advantage they really need to take ahead of, because with this generation as well of young people, it's shown, and we've seen the results, and especially seen the results from someone like Abby doing it. I'm like, why would you not do it? Because she's targeted perfectly. I think even Don't Not comment on one of her posts. It's like, fantastic, just do that. It's like, it's great.
Yeah. I have nothing
Yeah.
else to add. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just show you 2 comments and then we'll wrap up here? Because I think it just
Okay.
adds to the full context of the conversation we've had. So this was I tweeted about it as it was. This was one of the comments, Adam. This was on the Fireside podcast, and this is why I was
Mhm.
referring to it. And someone said, "Bang on with a TikTok point." That was me that said it.
Yeah.
I think Abby said as well. I'm an old school Life is Strange fan who fell off the series, saw a Lost Records clip on TikTok, and that made me go, "Oh yeah, Don't Nod is awesome. I should try the new game." And that single handedly convinced me to buy Lost Records. Now I'm on board again. Love the game. But if it wasn't for that one awesome Swann/Cat edit, I probably wouldn't have never tried this game or heard about Lost Records.
Yeah.
And I think that's the kind of like the sign of it. And I think this is the other comment just to add on to this as well. No, where's the other comment? There was another comment here. I need to find it. There it is. Look at that. So this is from Zach Atlas. To be honest, I had no idea Don't Know made another game after Mirrors or Tell Me Why until you post about it.
Wow. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is and I said as well, as I said in the tweet as well, I was like, it's wild for you to say, but it's not a surprise either because that's what happened. Unless you become really invested in your niche or you invest in it, how many people really care about it? If you're like Naughty Dog, great, you remembered.
Mhm.
Maybe it doesn't happen with other people. Kojima has that like loyal fan base. A lot of people associate Metal Gear with both equally Konami and Kojima because you know both of them as separate entities as well. But it's like you have that with Square Enix and Life is Strange. It is very much always commonly associated with Square Enix, and it adds to what you say about like when you watch Kind of Funny, for example, with Blessing and other people, and like, oh yeah, we love this, and it's like, do
Mm.
you guys know the full difference between the two?
Yeah.
Like you do, but do you know the full difference and scale of it? It shows. Yeah, I think that's me. Any last comments before we go?
No, I've made my points. Yeah.
Yes, you made your piece, and that's,
Yeah.
I think, a good place to end as well. So, as always, if you just find us, I'm Adnan, Adam, whichever direction he's in. We host Lost Records Journal, our Lost Records focused podcast. Go and check that out. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's available on all podcast platforms. It's on YouTube as well. We've been doing it over a year as well, so we really enjoy that. I think, and I hope to God I don't have to keep editing this. We're having Olivia Lepore on there, who's Swann Holloway herself.
Mhm.
So go and check that episode out. So it's going to be amazing for you guys to watch. And also as well, we host StrangeCast, which we've hosted for 40+ years, and that is Life is Strange Band podcast, almost at 100 episodes as well.
Yeah.
And we've been doing that we covered Deck 9, Life is Strange, even Lost Records on there. So do go and check that out again on podcast services and on YouTube. So we'll close out here. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you are new here, please do consider dropping a subscribe on the channel, turn notifications, like this video, like it. Otherwise, I can't even tell you the other thing because it's a spoiler, even though I think I put spoilers in here. I'm going to do
Yeah.
something to you. Adam's going to come running after you. That's what he's going to do.
I'm too old to run.
He's going to come walking behind you.
Yeah.
And
There
you're
you
going to
go.
stick. He's going to
Yeah.
like, he's going to be the old man that you've seen, like the grumpy like films. That's what's going to
Yeah.
happen. It's like, why are you on my Philly lawn? And it's like, yeah, there you go.
Yes.
So yeah, I can't do American accents. I do a British accent because of you as well. When I
Yeah.
take your bloody hells, I'm like, why am I impersonating you doing my impersonation of British
I mean,
accent?
what really is an American accent anyway? It's just like you always just go to a Texas accent, you know?
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
yeehaw, pew, pew,
Yeah.
pew. So it's always that, isn't it? Yeah, fair point. Anyway, we'll wrap up here. Stay tuned. I'm not sure what the schedules are. A podcast will be back next week. Whichever one it is, we don't know yet, but a podcast will be back.
Yes.
By the way, I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know what you think in the comments. Hopefully this picks up more views. I'm always hopeful for that as well. And it's an independent game, so go and support it as well. We are supporting as much as humanly possible. Until next time, see you later, guys. Bye.
Right.